weekly power hour, because this is all about you. So Steve, what's really nice is we really appreciate you being part of this, because most events, you get pumped up and excited at the event and you're going to change the world and change your life. And then 2 weeks later, you get right back into your same old, and life attacks you. And you're like, oh, I didn't implement any of that stuff. So by bringing on great speakers, authors, coaches like you, it helps remind them of what they should be doing on a weekly basis. Plus, it's unique strategies they may not even have heard to help them get to the other side of this challenging market right now. So collectively, what we try to do, Steve, is as a community, help each other improve, succeed, and get to the other side of this. So we appreciate all of those who are on the call so far. We know more drop in. And today we brought on Steve Sims. He's actually been a friend of Momentum Builder for over a year now. We just haven't been able to connect. And you're going to enjoy Steve, other than his great accent. You're going to enjoy the fact that he basically just kind of hits you between the eyes, which we love. I mean, who writes a book that says go for stupid? The art of achieving ridiculous goals. And Gino and I love that, because we believe in big, hairy, audacious goals. That's where Momentum Builder started. And we wanted to bring on Steve to kind of share these philosophies, these thought process. And then we want to make sure all of you ask questions and engage with your reactions. We love seeing, there's a little button here in case you didn't see that you can hit. There we go. Yep. Reactions. Let Steve know that you like what he says. And then you can give us, Gino and I, thumbs down. That's okay. We can deal with it.
I removed that icon.
That's pretty funny. Can you?
No.
Oh, I don't have it in mine either.
It doesn't. I was just kidding.
So,
Steve, I was going to.
You want to say anything before we kind of start teeing up?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, I know we had some subject matter to talk about, but you did start down the road of talking about big goals, and I think in markets like this, one of the things people lose first is the vision. They lose the vision of where they're trying to go. They lose the vision of the future. They lose the vision of the goals, and all they see is the challenges. And so I think that when you have really big goals, and Don and I used to do them as, we used to call them 2, 5, and 10, right? What's my 2-year goal? What's my 5-year goal? And what's my 10-year goal? And if you don't know what those are, there's no way you can build a business plan to even achieve what you're trying to achieve next week. And so tell us a little bit about those giant, crazy goals or stupid goals, Steve.
Well, for a start, I don't know if I got 5 years left in me. And without starting on a deep, dark moment, nor do you. It's not promised. So for me, I have a 3, 6, and 12 month goal. And I try to achieve everything of my 12-month goal in 6 months and 6 in 3. And I go on like that. You see, the problem is having a time frame set into the future, way into the future, also gets us a little bit too comfortable. Hey, I'm going to achieve this in 5 years' time, so I'll just get on about my day to day, where we don't actually implement with urgency. If I told you that we got to do this in 3 months' time, you're like, shit, I don't have a lot of time. Step up, get going. So I think for a start, anyone that's got any goals that have got years in them, change those years into months. Okay. And I've been very, very fortunate to work with some of the most powerful people in the planet. And that was the first thing I got out of them. Their goals were never years, they were months. And in some cases, days. In these amount of days, I'm going to find a solution to X. In the next amount of days, I'm going to find someone who can partner with me to give me that solution. And at the end of the next few days after that, I'm going to implement. So they work on days. They don't work on years. That's the first thing. Condense your scale to get it going. The other thing is, and I learned this from Tony Robbins many years ago, we get everything done that we need to do. You need to pay your electric bill. You need to do the mortgage. You need to clean up after the dogs. You need to pay the school fees. We do everything we need to do, but we don't always get what we want. So the big twist in psychology is to take what you want and make it a need. I want a new car. Why do you want a new car? Because I can travel better. It'll make me feel better. It will improve my whole being. I'll be able to do more business because I'll be happier because I'll be therefore I need that car. What's my goal? Is it 3, 6, or 12 months? It's a 9-month goal. Great. Then let's try and do it in 6 months. So the two things, reduce years to months and convert your wants into needs, and you will get what you need. And those needs will now be those wants that you needed in the first place. So that's really the mindset shift to start with.
So we're like 5 minutes into this call of actual content, and already people can walk away with an actionable plan. And this is the second time now that we've heard about short-term goals. So if you know, one of the things that I think Don and I in this community need to start doing is start realizing, if we're talking to some of the smartest people that we could possibly get on this call, and there seems to be things that are in alignment between multiple people, guess what? Those are called best practices. And we need to start, we need to start taking a real close look at those that seem to be the common, and, you know, they're not exactly the same, but what do they say about history? It's like, they don't always match, but they rhyme. And so it's kind of the same thing. When we start seeing these trends, those are the things that we should implement first. So I love the idea of short-term goals. I am trying to do the best I can to shrink those as well.
It works. You know, I'm an aggravated individual. You know, I spend most of my life being pissed off. But the good thing about aggravation is you do something about it. If you're not happy with your current business, if you're not happy with your clients, then you just moan about it, whinge about it, post about it on Facebook, and you do nothing about it. But if you're aggravated with your finance, if you look at your bank account and it pisses you off, you do something about it. So a good friend of mine, Joe Polish, used to say it's aggravated oysters that make pearls. I love spending most of my time aggravated. I'm aggravated about how my marketing strategy is working. I'm aggravated about my branding, my persona, my reputation. I'm constantly aggravated because in that situation, you do something about it. Now, today, a lot of people are aggravated for different reasons. They're aggravated because of, hey, coronavirus. It's actually a conspiracy thought up by aliens from Venus to get us all. There's all of these things. Everyone's got a reason to be pissed off. Interest rates, business, recession. Are we in a recession or are we in a distortion? And that's the point. At this moment in time, we're looking for things to bother us, but we're not doing anything about it. We're moaning about it. And you've started this off with, look, you know, the business the way it is, and we're in some tough times. We're in some wonderful times. And I really am telling you that these are some fantastic moments. Do you know the last best moment? 2 years of COVID. Absolutely loved it. And I apologize if anyone's family members were hurt, harmed, or down for any periods during that due to the illness. But for me, I would like to see COVID come across every 5 years, because it gave me the chance to sit down with me and go, am I where I wanted to be back then? Have I achieved what I wanted? Because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we wake up in the morning and we do that, don't we? And we keep going. And then we wake up in the following morning and we do that again. And we can't take our foot off the gas because of those competitors, you know, and everyone else is going to steal our business. But the good thing about COVID was it gave us a moment where we couldn't be chopped off by a competitor to actually review, what are we doing with our branding? What are we doing with our website? How are we? And now we've come out of it, and there's these people going, oh, we're in a recession, we're in a depression, oh my God, it's terrible. People spend money. Now, for anyone out there that doesn't know me, you know, 2 nanoseconds, 25 years, ran the world's most successful concierge practice, only looked after billionaires, and was called by Forbes the real life Wizard of Oz. I know about rich people because I wasn't. And I was a bricklayer that had no money. Now, it's no good me sitting in a pub and talking to my mates about how are you going to make money. How the hell are they going to know? They're just as poor as I am. That's why I tried associating around with billionaires, because you are right. There's a thread. And it doesn't matter if you're dealing with someone in Seoul, Melbourne, Los Angeles, or London. There's a thread that changes based on culture, but never changes based on mindset of successful people. And I wanted to get that. And I replicate that now all the time. So If you think you're in a bad moment, if you think you're in a depression, then people are spending money. I just bought a brand new motorcycle yesterday. People are spending. The question is, are they spending it with you? And if not, why not? And the worst answer to that is probably because you are the problem to that.
Boom.
Yeah.
See, I knew you were going to hit us between the eyes, Steve. I mean, come on. Let's see some reactions to that and what you think. And I agree. So you're on our page. So just so you know, and thanks for bringing up the fact that it can be a wonderful time in the fact that Gino and I believe you. And if you ask our team, a lot of them are on this. We're not talking out of our you-know-whats. We truly believe that this is an opportunistic time because when it's good, it's challenging. Like for all of us, we want to go and get more potential business, more potential partners. But when it's busy, you can't get them. They will not receive your call in any way, shape, or form. Plus, our competition is going to be in half by the end of the year. Half. We got the statistic. Gino just shared them on a different call that it's going to be. We were going to go from 160 something thousand originators down to 80 by the end of the year. That's half of the competition. Plus, now because it's challenging, real estate agents and our partners and referral partners will talk to us. They need us. Before they didn't. So this is an opportunistic time so that we can go grab our share of the market. And then when it does improve, I mean, we'll take our share now, trust me, and do better than most. But when it improves, we will crush the competition because everybody else is waiting right now with their heads in the sand, waiting for the market to improve. And we don't know. The market is the market, as Gino says.
And there you go. You got me pissed off already. They're waiting for something else to happen to benefit them. The people that make money today are the ones that control their own destiny. And that's the situation. Most of the people that aren't in the market now that are sitting there with holding their heads and moaning that, you know, business is terrible, they rode through some gifted times. And let's be serious, a dead dog could have got business in the real estate business in the real estate world during COVID because of interest rates, not because of skill levels, but because of interest rates. So those people that are bitching and moaning about it now, they never had what was necessary at that time to keep them going during these rough seas. And they always say, you know, great sailors are born from rough seas. Those people that are parting the waves and running away and, you know, selling Starbucks now, good, because you need those people. You need to clear out the dross. So the superstars, they're the ones that survive and they're the ones that shine.
Yeah, I
love Troy's comment. I have to, let me just throw, do you see Troy's comment? We're talking about everybody's heads are stuck in the sand. He's like, I'm going to buy shovels and dig their heads deeper into the sand.
And look, I had this mindset change and it probably happened right after May 10th. And we had this phenomenon, I'll call it, where everybody was waiting for things to get better, waiting for things to get better. It's going to get better in April. It's going to get better on May 10th. It's going to get better on June 15th. And I was tired of that being let down, waiting for the light to come and rates to come down. And so this probably like 4 months ago, like maybe 3 months ago, where I said, hey guys, stop waiting for it to get better. What if today was your best opportunity and you knew tomorrow was going to be worse? If you knew that the future was bleak and today was your last day, how would you live that day? And so if you live every day as if tomorrow is going to be worse, you're going to be incredibly successful because you're going to do your best.
And that comes again down to the 3, 6, and 12 months. We don't know what we got. And I'm constantly bothered by people that wait for somebody else's response to make them better. You're right. We may have 15% interest rate. Okay. Now, that's a ridiculous thing to say. And you may get people going, oh my God. Does that mean people aren't going to buy properties, or is it going to mean that people are going to moan about it, cry about it, and then buy property? Okay. So the bottom line of it is, it's only bothering people, and this is going to upset things and probably get me canceled. It only bothers the poor people. People with money, they just date interest rates. They'll flip another interest rate next week. They don't care. But poor people are the ones that worry about the finances. Rich people and successful people are those that focus on the value. That's the big difference.
Yeah, I'm going to go down this tangent with you because I've been saying this probably for the last year. Highly unpopular thing that I say, but I say it anyway because I believe it to be true. I don't know when everyone in the United States believed that they're entitled to own a home. There's a reason it was called the American dream. That's because it was really fucking hard to achieve.
Yeah.
And we've at some point been told, no, everybody should have one. That's bullshit. The reality of the matter is you're going to have to bust your ass. You're going to have to be better than everybody else. And if you do, then you will achieve the American dream in home ownership.
Yeah, I think we can even take it another step further. And, you know, I've got to be careful how I phrase this, but equality, that's bullshit. You know, there are those people that succeed because they're willing to put the work in, and they'll work harder, and they'll graft, and they'll outsmart people. So it's not given. It's not a gift. And that's why when I'm sitting in my house looking out over my yard, I feel proud because my ass put me here.
I had that reminds me, I got into it with my mom. And again, this is a long old story, but my mom says, how's work? And I was like, man, it's going really well. And she goes, oh, you really need to thank God, son. I was like, I'm the one busting my ass every day, Mom. Thank me. I had to be 22 years old saying that, but I mean, reality is, you know, you can't get it for free. It takes, if you did, then you don't really appreciate it either. It's only when you earn something through hard work and challenges that it's valuable, that it feels, that makes you proud, like you just said. And I think pride is something that's important too. I think people don't think it's okay to be proud. I think it's great to be proud of things that you've achieved.
Whoa, let's play them. I think it's great to be proud, and I think it's imperative to be selfish. And let me explain. And I've done this many, many times. I've been on stage, I've been in coaching meetings, I've been in team building, and I'll walk out on stage and I'll go, okay, who in this room is selfish? And you'll get a couple of people that have put their hands up, but most people will keep, yeah, exactly. It'll be halfway up here. It won't be thrown around in the air. And I'll say, who here is selfish? And most people won't put their hand up. And I'm like, you've got to get selfish. You've got to be selfish with who you spend your time with. You've got to be selfish with where you disperse your energy, your focus, your effort. Tomorrow is a gift, not a guarantee. So today you've got to be focused on you. And until you have the appropriate mindset, the appropriate standards, then you can't help anyone else. And so I'm a great believer that today that we need to be selfish. You know, when was the last time you were on a plane and they turn around and they say, look, if the plane's going down and your face mask comes down, you know, put it on someone else first before you look after yourself. They don't say that, do they? You can't pick someone up when you've got a broken hand. You've got to focus on yourself, your integrity, your passion, your purpose, your stability in order to be able to help others. And that starts by looking after number one.
Love that.
Boom. And I totally agree. I was going to use that same analogy about the airplane and stuff. So, okay, I love your passion, Steve. That's why we brought you on. No bullshit. Just, you know, and we could say that because this is our own podcast. And the key thing, though, I'd love you to share. So, you know, Gino and I got to be careful because we're optimists, and we have each other, and we pump each other up, and we're motivated. And I've been around the block multiple times. I've been in this industry for over 3 decades, so I won't go into that. So I've seen, you know, these cycles, and I know what the other side of this looks like. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy during these challenging times, but Gino and I are ecstatic about this opportunity, and we're pumped up, and we work long days, and we literally lean into the day at 5 o'clock at the gym, pumped up, ready to go. But the key thing that I'd love you to get your opinion on is what's helping us. And we tell our team that because, you know, yeah, you're not going to have 2020 and 2021 numbers. I mean, no one is right now. But what helps Gino and I on a daily basis with our mindset right now is our daily activities. We know we're doing everything we possibly can to kick ass today. That's all we can go to sleep. You know, it helps us go to sleep well at night going, I know we crushed the day. We're doing everything we possibly can to stay positive, stay motivated, build our business, and help our team build theirs. And that allow us to go to sleep. If we didn't do those activities, I think the days just go by, and it's going to frustrate you. And it's really hard to have the right mindset.
if you speak to anyone that's done karate as a kid, you know, any kind of martial arts, or if there's anyone out there that plays golf, or anyone out there that plays football, or anyone that paints, they always say, practice the basics, repetition, fine tune the basics. And what you're doing is the basics. And you see, this is the dumb thing. Most people ignore the basics. During COVID, here's a little thing. During COVID, I loved it. Now, of course, COVID came across. We all thought it was going to be 3 months, didn't we? But the thing about an entrepreneur is we recognize opportunity. And I thought, hang on, no one can fly. I'm on a plane every single month of my life. And I've actually slowed that down a lot now. But I was on a plane every single month, and I knew my clients were as well. But during COVID, no one could be. No one could say, oh, can I speak to Gino, please? Oh, no, he's in a business meeting, because you couldn't go to work. So I knew you weren't there. Oh, he's flying off to Korea. No, he's not. No one's allowed to go anywhere. I know you're sitting at home wondering when COVID's going to be over.
And drinking.
And drinking. Smart man. So what I started doing at the beginning of COVID was I literally started phoning everyone that I wanted to speak to. And I was getting them. And I was having communication with them. Of course, COVID went on for 2.5 years, and I carried on going. And I was doing the most basic thing, this weird, spooky thing, texting someone going, hey, Gino, I'm getting back to the house in a second. I was just thinking about you. I'm going to call you in 10 minutes. And then I'd call you. And you were like, hey, Steve, what's going on? I stuck to the basics. I didn't buy a $50,000 course. I didn't buy a CRM to mass market. I didn't go on ChatGPT to put up a long-winded email that I couldn't even say, let alone spell. I didn't bother with any of that shit. I texted and I phoned. And as woke, evolved as we are today, we're still primitive. We walk past a bush, it rustles, we shit our pants. We see something we like, whether it be a nice car, a female, a guy, whatever, and we go, whoa, you know? We are still born by the basics of primitive interaction and our desperate need to connect. And so if you want a basic tactic, if you want a basic tip that's going to cost you nothing but the minutes in your day, then follow this rule. And here's the daft thing. I'm telling you now, boys, I'm going to give you a nugget. I'm going to give something to you now, which is going to treble and fortify your business through any recession, depression, distortion, destruction, anything. I'm going to give it to you for free. And before I overkill it and overframe it, most of the people listening to this won't do it. And this is
why
what
we can all go on stage and share our best practices and our secrets and not worry about them, stealing our income.
But the trouble is, people are going to have to go out of their way to ignore this one. So this is what you do. Between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, every Tuesday, phone 3 or 4 people. Prospects, established clients, relationships, every Tuesday. After 10, 3 to 4 fresh phone calls, and then go about your day. And if you've got someone in the week that you've got a meeting, don't include them in those phone calls. Every Tuesday, do that. At the end of the month, you're starting to build up. And then the following month, they build up. Before you know it, you've gone through a year, you're speaking to hundreds of people, but they won't do it. Something will come up. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. They won't do it. And I can't understand why.
Yeah, we were just on the other call that we mentioned that we were on, and Chris Sorensen, our divisional president, was talking about exactly that. He was saying, he says, why don't you do the number one thing you're paid to do? You are a sales professional. Your job is to be on the phone and call individuals, talk to them about your product. That's your job. Everything else is noise. Processing, running credit, calculating income. That's all just stuff that needs to happen in the manufacturing process. If you're a loan officer today, you are a salesperson. Job number one. And what does that require? Calling people.
Yep.
And meeting people.
They won't. I think, well, here's a few things how we get into this. You've got to know the problem in order to diagnose the solution. Prior to COVID, we were starting to realize that, you know, everyone else's world was prettier than ours. Now, look, there's three of us here. We're all three of us older than bloody Google, okay? We didn't have Instagram to point out how inadequate our life was when we were a teenager. But everyone out there at the moment is looking up online. They're seeing people leaning up against cars they don't own, looking at mansions going, oh, I've just sold this. I made $1 billion before I went to the toilet. And all of that BS. And it consumed us. And then we fell into COVID, which confused us. You know, what's going on? Politics, war, marches, riots, COVID, does it exist? Should we get a booster? You know, oh no, they can track us. Ain't that interesting? No one cares. So there was all of this going on, but we couldn't communicate. So at the beginning, we were communicating with people that weren't real. Then we were growing up, and the big tagline of COVID, fake news. So we became distrusting. And then we came out of COVID because it suddenly stopped on a Tuesday, and they turned around and they went, oh, now you can get out and communicate again. No, we couldn't. We were pretty bad at it before COVID. Now we're out of practice. Now we're damn well shit at it. We will do everything in our path to send you an email, send you a text, send you a letter, send you a PDF, rather than have a conversation. But it's the people that have the conversations that are winning. It's the people that dare to pick up the phone and go, Gino, and we did this all the time. We still do it now. Someone will send us a request. In the coaching world, they will send me an email going, Steve, I've got this problem. And I will phone them. I won't respond by email. I'll phone them and I'll be like, why is that a problem? First of all, why have you framed what you're going through as anything other than a lesson? And I'll communicate with them. And I'll end the phone call. And a lot of my clients are like, you know, he phoned me. Oh my God, I got this phone call. In the 90s, how many times did you get off the phone with someone and go, oh my God, I had a phone call? But now it's a rarity like unicorn poo. We just can't believe someone's actually had the time to call us. So imagine if you're there and a client sends you in a form, and instead of sending them an email back and going, hey, Johnny, I got the application, thank you very much, phoning them up and going, hey, I know how you're feeling. You've just given me your world. I'm not going to take it lightly. I got your back. We're going to go through this together. And to the point that if you got any questions, pick up the plastic thing and dial it.
Actually, that's brilliant, because right now, Steve, so let alone business building, you're talking building relationships right now. For all of you on this call, I guarantee you I'll have this challenge as well. And we address challenges so we can come up with solutions, Steve. So that's why you'll hear me every once in a while bring up, because these are real challenges. So there was a time when we were killing it, that our conversion ratios were, you know, extraordinary. I mean, basically you quoted them, you closed the deal and went on to the next one. Now, due to, you know, affordability issues, high interest rates, low inventory, I'll give whatever reasons or excuses, I'll call them, our conversion rate has dropped by at least 50 to 75%. So the point that you're making, and I want to hit the nail on the head on this, because now you're talking about pick up the phone and build that relationship, because otherwise you will not increase your conversion ratio. Imagine your competitors are going to send an email, and it might be a pretty email with all this stuff on it. Pick up the phone and build the relationship and increase your conversion ratio. I'm going to guess by another 50%, because you can't lose deals right now. You when you have 8 to 10 a month, 20 a month, you lose a deal. I'll live. Now, when you're closing, let's just say 2 to 8, and you lose a deal, it's 25% of your business. So don't lose it. Pick up the darn phone and build the relationship and increase your conversion ratio. Am I right?
Yeah, relationships are everything. And we're in a world where at the moment, everyone's trying to jump onto the new shiny thing. Okay. There's always been a new shiny thing, whether it be the invention of the car, radio. Do you remember how radio shit its pants when TV came along? And then TV came along and it was in color. And all of a sudden the fax machine was like, oh my God, look at that technology. And an email came along. And then all of a sudden MySpace came. There's always something shiny that's going to distract you and squirrel the hell out of you.
I'm still on MySpace.
Yeah, I've got to find out what the bloody thing, what my logins are.
Now, I still think fax machines were invented by aliens. I really do. I still don't understand how that works.
It's the point that there's always going to be distraction, distortions, and everyone at the moment is kind of like throwing their hands up and going on about Chat GPT and Bard and AI. I have a media company, and we actually go through all of these different tools and tricks and all these kind of things. But at the end of the day, we need one person to connect and understand another person. The other stuff is nothing more than tools. It's not there to replace you. Just because you couldn't write a big email and all of a sudden ChatGPT can puke out a 5-page PDF doesn't believe you're believable. It just means that ChatGPT can do it. I want to be able to send stuff out that's real. My wife jokes that she thinks I'm charged for punctuation because I leave it out of any email. You know, punctuation just gets in the way of me writing shit. So I just go, send.
Like me.
Yeah, and I just posted it out. And that's how I do it. Like, funny enough, yesterday, a couple of days ago, I posted on my Instagram page, just to let you know you're not dead yet. What are you going to do with it? And I just posted that on my Instagram page. But instead of doing you are not dead, I did you're not dead. Most people were fine, but I got a few people coming at me going, you spelt it wrong. And I'm like, I did, but the point's still valid. You know, is that how your day is? You want to score me for grammar rather than realizing? So it's just weird. But that showed also, funny enough, that I was a real person doing it, because the AI is too perfect. And as much as we think we are, there's no such thing as a perfect human being.
That's why you can kind of pick it apart. When you see it, you go, that's it. That's AI. That's Chat GPT.
Absolutely. So when you've got this, in fact, funny enough, there's a good friend of mine, Perry Belcher. There's a program where you can go onto Chat GPT and it can write you a script. It can write you an email. It can write you a landing page. It can do anything you want to do. And then you actually put it into this other website, which humanizes it and actually takes out certain punctuation and, get this, puts in spelling mistakes.
Wow.
Now, isn't that weird? Because today, if you actually go on Facebook and you put something in there that's AI generated, it will realize it and it won't distribute it off of your feed. It won't tell your friends that you posted something, and it will shadow ban you. But if you go through this other program to make you look as though you can't spell, Facebook could go, oh, he's a moron, but at least he's real, and we'll post it and share it. So we're looking to connect with real people.
So,
well, you kind of put the, go ahead, Gina. I know you had a point. Sorry,
yeah,
buddy.
let's touch on that, because one of the things that's, again, I'm looking at all the common threads here. You know, Todd Duncan, what does he say? Go deeper with your relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what his entire thing is all about. His entire life has been going deeper with the relationships. And the other common thread that I just heard that we were talking about is authenticity. That's the reality. And Craig Sewing, who's our friend with American Dream TV, he was saying that people's bullshit meter is on high right now. You can sense bullshit from a mile away, right? You're ready for it. It's coming. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. So when you encounter something that's completely authentic, you know, no punches pulled, just like you are right now, and then you're like, oh, hey, I like that guy, right? Because you're getting sincerity. You're feeling a human connection with someone that's being real with you.
No. You're very, very close, but psychologically, when you're being authentic, it's not a case that the person likes you or not. It's the fact that the person understands you enough to be able to make a decision. You see, there are people out there listening to your show that quite honestly love me. Okay. There are other people that are listening to your show that quite simply hate me. Okay. But they're not going to be confused. And in today's world, and especially in branding, we confuse people by trying to be an eloquent, articulate version of us when we're not. What we want is we want that authenticity. We want that rawness so we can turn up and go, I get that person. And whether or not they decide, okay, I like them, I'm going to follow them, or I don't like what he's saying. He swears a bit too much. He advocates for everyone to drink old fashions and ride motorcycles, and it's not my kind of thing.
What's wrong with all that?
For me and you, it's not. But what I am doing and what I do with my people is I train them to be impossible to misunderstand.
Clarity.
And that's where it works today. Clarity. Clarity is king in understanding who you are, what you are, and are you the solution to my problem? Do you help me? Can you give me a nugget that's going to benefit me? And that's where people are going to make their judgments from.
Wow, that it's funny. I hope you guys didn't lose this in that statement, Steve. That was brilliant. Are you the solution to my problem? That is an important piece, because then it's about them, not about what you're saying. It's like, hey, wait, I think that's a solution to my problem, whether it's finances, whether it's, it could be comedy or whatever it is. That's something they enjoy. But I love that. Are you the solution to my problem? And that's what we're learning in our posts. Everybody's just like post, but it's just noise now. So now if you were the solution to their problem, and it won't be everybody's solution, but you're trying to find those that you can be the solution to regarding this particular topic.
Speak to one person.
Yeah.
One person, right? If you can't be everything for everyone, speak to the person in front of you. Use Jesse Isler, be where your feet are. Speak to the person in front of you and say, what can I do to help you? And if you start with what can I do to help you, that's probably going to lead down the path of a pretty decent conversation.
Yep.
And being authentic and real. And you've obviously watched mine and Gino's shows. It's a walking blooper reel.
What Don calls me Popeye. He says, I am's who I am's.
I think Steve's right on your line.
Yeah. I was wondering, and I really wanted to rag a little bit on Mike Razak on this call, but he's not on. He's one of our community members and someone that works with us as well, and a good friend. And I'm starting to wonder if you're his personal coach.
Oh my God.
So he's obviously a wonderful person then.
Right.
He lives life by aggravation.
Good.
He's always pissed about something. Oh, look at all the likes and shit. Everybody that knows Mike.
They're like, yep, we know Mike. And nothing we wouldn't say to his face, by the way.
Well, it's recorded, so he's going to find out.
Yeah, well, exactly. Craig had a question for you, since we can dive into this. He says, I'm proud to say none of my content is ChatGPT, but I'm also told I'm less productive as a result. Which one is right? Great question, Craig. Because that's the challenge everybody has right now, because everybody's being told you have to be AI.
Yeah, but the dumb thing is they're looking at AI as a replacement, not a tool. If I'm going to ask you to knock up a doll's house and I give you a nail, you're going to reach for a hammer. Okay. It doesn't mean you're replaceable. You've still got to direct the hammer. You've still got to make sure you're nailing in the right area, but it is nothing more than a freaking tool. Now, the good thing about, okay, you like tactics. So what was the guy's name? Was it Craig?
Craig Davis.
Craig, right. Okay. So here you go, Craig. Here's a beautiful little thing for you. Patel recently bought Answer the Public. Have you guys come across answerthepublic.com?
No.
Right. Neil Patel bought it. Great guy, real sharp guy. Answerthepublic.com is a website that you go on and you can search the questions that people are putting into Google in any industry you like. So you can go in there and ask them, what are the 3 problems, or how do I get a mortgage? And it will give you the top 10 searches that people type in there. Then you can take that, you can go into ChatGPT and go, write me a sales letter answering this question. And it will produce you the sales letter. Now, both of those things are inspiration. And then this is where Craig gets involved. Pour your espresso and read it, and then translate it into your voice. Shorten it, sharpen it, get rid of some of the waffle that you don't need, but use that to now create a flow and an initiation of your creativity. Use AI, because we all get tired. You know, we all get tired and we know we've got to go and do this. And, oh my God, I've got to send out a letter. But if you can go on a chat GPT and go, all right, write me a letter on the top 10 things around this subject matter, and it will puke it out, and it'll be very vanilla. It'll
Great
be
idea.
very bland. But that's when you go, okay, oh, number one, I hadn't thought about that. Rewrite that. Number two, I like that. I'll leave that as is. Number three, that's crap. I'm throwing that out. But it now gives you the ability to go through and quantify it as you. So, Craig, I would use Answer the Public to get the searches people are asking for. And then any of your content, build the answer to those questions into your content. And if you need to use ChatGPT to spur some creativity, then do it. But don't finish with it. You're the finishing touch. You're the one that's got to paint the doll's house. So if your stuff's not got ChatGPT on it, gives a shit. But do use it as a tool for your benefit.
Yeah, I think it's a procrastination buster, right?
It is really good.
Procrastinating something. I always used to say, I never,
That's a good way to put it. For Gino and I love finishing projects. We just hate starting them.
yeah, I mean, because that's the way I operate, right? Usually my job is to fix problems that others create. That's what my everyday job is. You know, we have salespeople, we have employees. The problems come to me and I solve them. So when I have to start something from scratch, I can't be reactive. I have to start moving something from zero. It has no inertia. And so for me, ChatGPT is exactly what you just described. It's a tool that gets me moving. It gets me the skeleton, even gives me the structure, because I'm not very good at structure. So it gives me the structure. I'm like, oh, this is how a paragraph's supposed to be written, because I didn't pay attention to shit in English class. So it gives me the structure, it gives me the ideas, but you're right. It's never what the content that I would say or how I would say it. And I would say, if you want to take it one level further and you're not going to do a post, just do videos, right? Just use it as some basic scripting for videos. And then you can use your tone and your modalities and your hands and all these other things to influence what you're trying to achieve instead of puking something out on a post.
I mentioned Answer the Public. I want to labor on that because I think you may be missing something on that. Okay. Because we're talking about the ChatGPT element of it. Right. Answer the Public is the questions that people are putting into Google to get the answers they want. So let's say, for argument's sake, I want a mortgage in 6 weeks. Is that possible? Okay. And that's one of the questions. You can come up with the answer. And as you were saying there, Gino, if you do a video and you go, hey, someone asked me the other day, I want to have a mortgage in 6 weeks. Now, use the entirety of that search. Get a mortgage in 6 weeks. Is this possible? Well, let me tell you, if you actually do that, when you post that on social, Google's going to go, well, hang on a minute. This is the #1 requested. Here's an answer, link. And your SEO will go through the freaking roof. And if you literally take the subject, the title that people type in, and then answer it, Google becomes your best mate.
Love it. That is a tactical approach for people that are looking to, you could do that in the next 15 minutes when we get off this call. I mean, it's
you should. Yeah.
Right.
That's the challenge.
And it's actually fun.
That's the challenge.
Like, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm answering the questions. Look, we're all problem solvers. Okay. We make money by being the solution to someone's problem, whether it's, making them happy or, get them into a house or getting a mortgage or sending them to the best restaurant. We are the solution to somebody's problem and question. If we know the exact question that they're asking, how freaking easy is that for our life?
Well,
all right. Well, I did run How Do I Get a Mortgage? I got 387 results. So I'm already, by the way, the difference between people, I know some people like to write that down and say, I'll do that later. I'm already on the website. As soon as I get off this, I'll make a post. You have to be a doer, right? You just
so Jay Abraham. Do you know Jay Abraham? Right. So Jay was saying
the name. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Jay was saying a little while ago that there are so many multi-million-dollar half-assed ideas companies out there that are way more than brilliant ideas with no implementation. So don't overthink, overdo. Whatever you do in the next 10 minutes using Google search, answer the public, chat GPT, anything you do now, I'm going to assure you of one thing. It's going to be crap compared to what it will be like in 3 months' time if you keep doing it. And you will get better from that. So don't overthink it. Don't try and polish it. It ain't a unicorn. They don't exist. Just start doing and learn from it.
Yeah. That reminds me of when Don and I started the talk show, the AM talk show. We did our first show and we were like, okay, well, that was kind of bumpy, but it was okay.
And we just did. We were basically voluntold we were starting a radio show by my coach. So it wasn't even an option. So we're like, he's like, what do we know about doing a radio show? I'm like, nothing, but let's just do it.
Yeah. And so it was our first show and it was fine. And then about 3 months later, the owner of the station comes to us and he goes, hey, that was a really good show. He's like, I've actually been listening to you guys and this was your best show ever. He's like, so you should go back and listen to your first show. Because, but don't do it while you're driving.
I had a friend of mine. Well, didn't I say have as though I've lost him? Guy called Ari Meisel, and I was in a house. We were all chatting about podcasts. I went on Facebook to my community and I went, hey, should I start a podcast? And everyone's always like, yeah, go ahead. So I went, oh, I'm going to start it. And Ari was like, okay, you need to understand algorithms. Now, Ari knows I know nothing about technology. So when you mention the word algorithm to someone that knows nothing about technology, it scares them. Okay. So I was like, oh, what are these algorithm-y things you talk about? He said, this is what you got to do. Do 16 podcasts, get them ready to launch, and then call me up and I'll tell you how to launch them and how it can be done properly so that your podcast will be good. He said 16 is the magic algorithm number. So I was like, okay. So I did 16 podcasts, 16 interviews, phoned him up, like 4 months later, and I went, I've done them. He went, good. Now go back and listen to them and ask yourself, do you want that shit out there on air? And I went and I was like, but what about these algorithms? He's like, there's no fucking algorithms. I just made that up. Just go and listen to that crap. And I went back. And out of 16, we kept 3.
Yeah. But isn't that the truth? When I started in the mortgage business, my boss, Harry, at the time, gave me a list of people to call. Pretty normal thing to do, right? I'm a young kid and I'm needing to make calls. And I probably made 20 calls before I realized what was going on. And recently I've been thinking a lot about this story because I think it's real today. And I go to him and I said, hey, Harry, everyone on this sheet here has no equity and they're completely upside down. They can't do anything. Why am I calling them? And he goes, I knew that. I go, then why'd you give me those numbers to call? He's like, because you don't know what you're doing yet. So I needed you to practice.
Yep.
And so that's the reality. I mean, that is the reality. We're never good at something the first time we do it. But if you continue to do it over and over again, and you consciously put pressure on yourself to improve at the craft, right? You can't, sometimes there's the opposite happens. People have been in the business for 20 years and they still suck. They don't really focus on improving their craft. But for those of us that have a normal sense of wanting to improve at all times, and then I think it's easier.
It's the consistency. If you're consistent with doing anything you do, and you consistently do it for 6 months, you're going to be better than half the people in America for a start because they bailed on the first month.
Right.
So consistency. I race motorcycles, and I used to race vintage motorcycles, and I was never very good. I was always in the top 10 or something like that, but I was never getting first place trophies. All right. But I started racing vintage motorcycles because I loved this, because half of the motorcycles would break down regardless. So you could be in a lineup of 30 people and you're going to come 5th. So it was just
panic.
Yeah, it didn't matter. They would just blow up as they went around. So, and my best race, I actually came 2nd because basically half the other motorbikes all crashed or blew up on the track. So if you keep going, you'll naturally win by consistency.
Sound familiar, Gino, in our go-karting?
Yep. Attrition.
We were actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So I'll parody off of that because you're talking about consistency and just keep going and keep going. So we literally showed up in, overalls. I swear. They got race teams there.
jeans, t-shirt, like a little tiny toolbox, like, you know, like
Yeah,
we were,
and you got teams there with their freaking box
the Beverly
fans and their
Hillbillies.
trailers and the mechanics and their suits and everything. And literally we were the slowest on the track. And we even called ourselves Team Sloth because we were just but we paid attention to the details and did our best at like utilizing as much gas as possible to go extra laps. We made sure when we did our, you know, our oil change or gas, we did all the little things we could control, but our speed wasn't going to be there. And there was, I don't know, 14 teams or something like that.
Cars, yeah.
Over time, a cart would break. Well, they'd lose 5-6 laps right there. Another would just break down for good. The other one didn't take the time to tighten their chain, so they were out, you know, that type of. We ended up third out of 14 teams. Team Sloth. I mean, it was like, and we beat our friends who are all like ex-professional racers.
Second when we passed George's team. Yeah.
And they even didn't even go. They had us and they ran out of gas with 2 laps left.
Right. I was going to say, we beat our arch rival, which was the most important part. Yeah. And we did 2 things to beat them in particular. Don came in one time and I said, your chain is loose. I said, we need to fix it now. And it's like, no, we're going to lose too many laps. I said, no, we need to fix it now. And we fixed it. And they had the same cart and the same chain. We had both put a new chain on in the morning. So new chains stretch. And so, you know, we're running a 12-hour race. So things happen. And so I remember we fixed the chain and we lost a bunch of laps there and we're kind of like, oh, well. And then they threw a chain out in the middle of nowhere and they had to walk their cart back. They lost like 20 laps trying to do that. So, you know, you got to also foresee some problems that are coming in the future. And even though it may seem like a couple of steps backwards today, if you could take care of some of those things today, then you won't have to worry about them later.
Look at your analogy.
And again, it's the little things, isn't it? A friend of mine, Joe Weldon, always said that no one's ever been bit by an elephant, but we've all been bit by an insect. It's the small shit that bites you.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. For one, you did it, Steve. You got Craig Davis to say my first pancake. That's one of his sayings. So we got that out of him. So way to go, Craig. It's we know his sayings, so that's a good one. And you know, is there anything you want to share at the end? And then Sonia will go through and share. I've been sharing your website and your podcast, and I hope everybody here, you know, starts following Steve because he's real. This is refreshing in our industry because we hear from the same Fab 10 who are important, but it's nice to get refreshing outlooks in a different, you know, aspect and some fun. And Steve, thank goodness, you're absolutely what we were hoping for, a breath of fresh air, because you're a hoot, you're fun. You line up with Gina, my philosophy that you got to have fun or you're not going to like doing it. And it was a refreshing approach. I mean, I'm just going to clarify that hopefully everybody heard, in case you missed the start of this, is everybody thinks of 1 year and 5-year plans, but this industry has changed daily lately. I mean, is it just crazy? Nobody can predict it. Not even the best of the best, which is like Barry Habib, who's got 3 crystal ball awards. Well, he's this year, he didn't get, no one's getting one. No one's getting one. No one. So you gave the idea of 3, 6, and 12 months goals. Try to complete the 6-month goal in 3, complete the 12-month goal in 6, because that's right in front of you. Those are more controllables, and it makes you take action quicker. Like you said, oh, I got a year to do it. I got 5 years to get there. Wow, that year goes by like that. And did you do anything? So I love the immediate goals right now, because if you attack your 3-month goal right now, you will be set up for success next year in 2024 for sure. So love some of the pearls of wisdom, the tidbits and all that. Steve, it's been a pleasure. And we're gonna do some housekeeping at the end here to make sure everybody knows, you know, what our next shows are. I mean, look at this, Steve. You know these guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You know, Dave said, oh, there's Craig Davis, by the way. There's a picture of him. He's hosting for us on the 14th. And he's bringing on the great Dave Savage, one of our bros who's going to kick ass. And then you probably know Josh Pitts, I'm sure.
I do. I know both of those guys. Yeah, Josh and Dave. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see we're aligning ourselves with nothing but the best and adding value all the time. So you've definitely done that. Let's make sure you guys who hasn't signed up for our app, as you know, it's probably Steve, we have our own app to keep everybody engaged. All the tools are there, the resources there. We have almost 800 people on our app now that just started as of February. And that's without really promoting. It's just been organically growing. So hopefully everybody signs up for our app. Really, really important so we can keep you engaged. We got so much exciting stuff coming up with our Facebook page, our membership, ongoing training. And then, of course, if you haven't signed up for Momentum Builder, look at Sonia's right on cue. You kill it, Sonia. This is the time. You're going to think, I'll just wait. It's not till February. It's going to sell out and ticket prices are going to go up. Plain and simple. There's an early bird price right now, and you get $100 off using DG 2024. So don't wait. All you're going to end up doing is knowing that you should be at the best event of the year, and you're going to wait and have to pay $200 more than you should. That could be used to go to some of the killer restaurants and bars at the Park MGM. I'm telling you, there's so much fun. And then the after party alone is worth it. But the networking, the community, the speakers we have are the best of the best. So make sure you sign up today and lock in your number because it will sell out. Remember, we're only allowing 500 tickets. That's it. It's going to be very intimate and cool with the best of the best. Look at the speakers we already have lined up. More coming soon. And it's going to be, you're going to walk away changed. It's not just an event. It's an experience that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you sign up. Other than that, you have anything to close with, Gino?
No, man, I think we covered all the bases. Had a great time with Steve. Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Steve, you're awesome.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll see more of you in our community. We won't let you slip away.
Okay. See you later.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks again, Steve.
Bye.